that no one knows. What does the fuck say?
Fuck off.
Just stop.
So it changes everything.
Shut the fuck up, Randy!
And Boltsy, you're in the same class too.
Yeah, dude,
Are you set?
Stop.
Economically set? Like, are you just totally comfortable? If you could make money for a year, are you fine? If you get sick?
Yes. I'm set.
Right.
What's that proof? Where are we going with that?
A lot of people are not that set, Boltsy. But anyway.
Listen, hold on. Let's deal with that then. I wasn't set, and you know what I did? I fucking worked. I fucking did stuff.
Okay.
I achieved things. And I'm sorry, but I understand that there's some people are not set, right? And that's unfortunate. But I see a lot of people that are not set.
It's going to get to a point where there's a lot more of those that instinctually will recognize who the fight is
That's
against.
because of these. That's because, listen, the economy is struggling because of the left's policies, and then it makes more poor people. So now you have more poor people to vote for more left policies, and then the economy is worse, and the economy is worse, and there's more poor people, and they vote for more policies. It's just a downward fucking spiral, all right? If you let people be free, they make fucking money. They make the world a better place, all right? The more you can, I mean, this is historically proven.
Let's get into which of these policies are so devastating, these leftist policies that are so devastating. I'd love to hear.
Of course you want to get
these.
bogged down in policy, but I'm trying to keep it a little general, and certainly we can get into some sort of like specific policies, and we can...
That's a big assertion. Leftist policies have made the economy weak. I really can't disagree with that. And I disagree with that in like 3 different angles. But
of course you do. Why would you be a leftist if you thought that the consequence of being a leftist would destroy the economy?
We've had leftist policies.
Holy shit, here we go. So, it's been the right-wing policies that have gotten us $16 trillion in debt.
Yeah, most of that came from the TARP right after the...
Listen, we spent a lot of that on the Iraq War. Bush definitely rolled up our debt, and no one can deny that Bill Clinton did a pretty good job balancing the budget. So it's awkward. It's awkward. We don't have good arguments. There's not a good...
It's awkward that the deficit... I mean, there's never been a balanced budget under a Republican since fucking, what?
Reagan?
Eisenhower, probably?
No, Reagan.
No, Reagan didn't balance the budget. He had a deficit.
Oh, so everyone's lying when they say he did? Or am I just totally... I'm probably misinformed.
They're not lying. They're just wrong.
All right, I'm just saying people have said that. I don't know. I wasn't fucking super politically active when I was fucking 2 years old, but...
Yeah, anyway, it doesn't matter. I am more interested in getting into the nitty-gritty of how each policy affects the economy, because I remember a lot of useful information from my liberal days that I could really use on that.
I'm definitely speaking in more broad terms, right? I think when you have less regulation on the market, the freer the market, the more productive it's going to be. And the whole pejorative that you could throw against capitalism, where you feel like it leaves some people out and it's not fair and it hurts your fee-fees, I get all that. That all makes sense to me. But historically speaking, when you just look at dollars and cents, the more you stifle an economy, the less productive it is, and the more you have to compensate for that by putting on all these social controls. And then you end up with the downward spiral, which is what we see now, where even the right-wing people are spending too much fucking money, man. There's no true conservatism anymore.
Okay. All right, so that's a lot of amorphous shit. I don't know what I can get into and can't get into. What do I say to that? I don't know.
I guess we're just going to fundamentally disagree that the freer the market, the more productive an economy is going to be, and that the more restricted the market is,
yes,
the less...
fuck the market. The market is an invention of the owner class.
Dude, so, okay, let's get down to the fundamentals of economics then here, because I don't think you understand. People create value, and when they are free to create that value and exchange that value, the overhead of that is not being sucked away by the government. That makes the society better in general. The more you suck off of that, the more you inhibit the market, the less the market's able to produce. And the market producing is the only good thing that has ever happened in the Western world, is that the markets are free to produce innovation and move technology forward, which moves civilization forward. That's the only thing that's ever been happening. That is the sum total history of our species, is people doing stuff when they're free to do it and making the world a better place. Like, you want to limit people from doing stuff. It's madness.
NASA, internet.
Okay, so we're just going with single words. Those were NASA and the internet were created by the government, right? And if the government didn't exist, they would have been created earlier. That's my contention.
Well, they weren't, and they aren't.
Yes, it's because the government forced association and had a monopoly on the whole situation. They soaked it all up. And listen,
most
let's say,
of the research that went into like the original microchips and shit like that was government research. Like a lot of the shit that no company wants to take the time to fuck with happened because of government. So,
listen, we can sit here and attribute these things, but I think we can both agree that it was individual humans who pushed these things forward, and there was something that was bound to happen.
So your
no matter
assertion
who is
that
in
it all
control.
has to be in this free market mechanic, otherwise, like, it's just based on because I said so.
No, it doesn't have to be, and I keep repeatedly asserting that historically, when we had freer markets, we had a more productive country, we had more innovation, and we had a stronger country when the markets were free. And this is true of Great Britain, Rome, and the United States.
Then why was the economy roaring so much when the tax rate was at 90%?
The tax rate wasn't at 90%, and I don't know when you're talking about.
The top tax rate was at 90% in the Eisenhower administration.
Okay, and that's when the economy was roaring? Because...
It was considered.
Okay, so let's put this in the context. So I'll deal with that. I get it.
Reagan
so let's
came in and
so
fucked
someone
everything
came in, Eisenhower.
Well, Nixon came and started
great.
fucking things up, and then Reagan just really.
So here's the history lesson in the United States. We get our independence. We have a super free market. We have a whole continent to conquer, and we get the milk and honey of that. And we have a super prosperous period, and then slowly the government starts throwing in taxes, which are kind of tiptoeing towards the socialist state we see now, right? So just because there's been 100 years of super productive free markets, and then you tack on a 90% tax rate and you build the great deal, right? The new deal of the great society, that doesn't mean that just because in that 10-year period following that there's productivity and that there is prosperity, that you get to claim all of the benefits. The state is parasite.
It was a huge boom in jobs for decades of high taxes. It's a huge boom in jobs for decades, and it can't all be explained as a post-World War II.
So here's what happens. Okay, look, so I got a business, and now I got to pay 90% taxes, so that means I'm going to go hire more people. That's counterintuitive. I mean, this is like economics 101. I mean, are we going to fundamentally come down to just the basic divide in all the economics, more control versus less control? And are we going to sit around and trot out a bunch of examples?
Yes, because I reject everything that your whole thing is based on. Even the assumptions that all of your conclusions are based on are wrong.
You're not even rejecting it. You're avoiding it. You see, if you take it on and you dismantle it, that's one thing. But you're perpetually...
Let's come at me, bro. One at a time. I've been trying to.
You're perpetually avoiding the big picture here, which is that under a freer market, we had more prosperity, and then under a more restricted market, we had less prosperity. I mean, this is just historically accurate.
How am I avoiding it when I say it's the opposite of what's true?
I guess maybe you got me there, man. You were just going to fundamentally disagree that that's the case, that we didn't have a hugely imposing governmental regulations on the market early in our country, and it's right. So that's not knowable, right? So we can go one step at a time.
All right, the way I perceive that history is the Roaring '20s was the height of your free markets, and then they crashed everything. And Hoover tried to say, no, everything's cool. Just like let it just go. Let the markets be. Everything's gonna be cool. just ride it out, guys. And everything fucking still sucked. And then all their tent communities, they started calling them Hoovervilles. I know this.
So your history starts at 1920 at the place where you want to just go crowbar in a free market into the crash. When by 1920 is when the encroachment into the market was starting. It's when Wall Street was starting, right? And it was nascent. It was simply a nascent economy. And if the crash, I'm not going to assign responsibility to the free or the not free markets, because that's controvertible. That's maybe it is, maybe it isn't. It's not hard to say that for the first before 1920, from 1820 to 1920, it's not hard to say that
I'm just talking. This is when my whole liberal economic positions are based on basically Keynes, and Keynes was around during that time, so that's when I start. I'm not cherry picking a random fucking.
Dude, you're totally cherry picking because I continually start directing us towards the beginning, the first 100 years of the country, and then you start picking it up in 1920 at the point when people started implementing controls and people started moving into new territories.
Cherry pick Eisenhower too?
Probably, yeah. It's all a cherry pick because once again, you're basically saying you're perpetually avoiding this long, open, free market and this huge period of prosperity, and then subsequently you're going to avoid all of the little pockets when we restricted the economy and it turned out for the worse. You're going to say that the crash of 2008 was because we stopped restricting.
Yeah, I'm saying that's a lie that you believed because it's not bared out by any facts. You can look at the. I mean, this is not even an argument I really care that much to have, except it's just you're easily point out that you're wrong based on which presidents were in office, which Congresses were in office at which times, and then GDP if you want to go by that.
Yeah, we can sit around and graph that and parse that out and dissect that all we want. I'm saying the reality is we've had freer markets in the past, and we've had.
When was the freest time?
I feel like I said it 100 times, but the first 100 years was pretty much the largest experiment in free markets ever,
except for the half of the country that were using slaves.
No, that's a total fucking red herring albatross that you totally want to fucking take all the way out into the Indian Ocean. I get it. For sure.
Right, yeah, so that didn't help our economy at all, that free labor.
No.
Anyway,
I don't know what that would have to do with the first 100 years. So now we've tainted the free markets with slavery?
Well, if you're talking about... I'm just saying, you need to factor that in.
Okay, well, let's factor this in.
Talk about a boom time.
Slavery was upheld by the government. So the only reason you were able to keep slaves is because if your slave ran away, the government was going to enlist people to track down your slaves. Slavery was a government program.
I brought up slavery because I said bring up a time when the market was really free, and then I'm not even saying so you have to stop talking, your point is invalid. I'm saying continue with your point with a nice little asterisk that half the economy was built on free labor, or whatever it was, a big chunk.
Right, and my pushback to that is that slavery was a government program, that you couldn't have slavery if it wasn't for the government.
Sweet pone, dude.
Well,
continue.
Well, this is government involvement in the markets. So to the extent that the government was involved in the markets was things like...
Were they government slaves or were they owned by capital? Were they owned by private people?
The private people would not be able to own them if the government didn't back their...
Oh, because the government does what the owner class want, right? The capitalist class decides basically what the laws are, which is kind of why I don't really like the argument of like when the capitalist class allowed slightly more progressive tax forms, did the current economic system of capitalism work better, or would the even going into the question would a communist economic system work better is kind of a no, because it's like you're talking about a capitalist GDP metric on a totally different apples and oranges system.
So what, you want to just totally get rid of money altogether and go to the Venus Project?
There's lots of different strains of socialism and forms, and I don't even know if I have one of them that I like the best. I just know that in general.
Okay, Randy.
Here's. Let me just put it and see if I can put it in the simplest terms.
Oh, please do.
I believe that to maximize freedom of all, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, like the Star Trek model. And so I believe in democracy, not just in the voting, but also in your job, what you do. Everybody should have an equal vote of how the organization pays its people and runs its business, basically like co-ops. So, but going back to the more broad thing, I believe that if the democracy votes for a certain thing, say we vote that you have all the money and we want to redistribute it this way, or we vote that your property is polluting this river too much, we want to take it away. We want to shut it all down, sorry. I believe that the right of the collective power of that vote trumps the individual right of the property owner and the individual right of the capitalist to have money. Because basically you got outvoted. Democracy wins.
So much for simple. Okay, so what I'm saying is in a free market, if someone's polluting a river, this is something that can be dealt with in a free market. Now, when you have a mixed market like we have, it's ripe for crony capitalism. And this is the reason that you hate capitalism, is because you conflate real capitalism with crony capitalism. And we're going to have a certain amount of crony.
No, I say that they're two. I don't conflate them. I believe that they are the same.
And I'm asserting that you thinking they're the same thing is a conflation. So, I'm not advocating for pure capitalism or pure anarchy or anything like that. I'm pointing at the ideals that if you want to empower the people, the best way to empower the people is to give them freedom, not to restrict them. And when people have choices, when people have a robust economy, they're free to not work at some place that they don't feel is equitable to them. They are free to not patronize somebody who is polluting their environment. So right now, when we have crony capitalism,
what if they live on the river? And
listen,
their beaches.
If you're an environmentalist, then the government is going to be your number one enemy because they have been a complete failure protecting the environment. All right?
It's because of regulatory capture, which goes back to the original problem I was talking about, which is money in politics. Which is it? You know, if you're going to go towards
so listen, how are you
making a better capitalism? You have to get money out of politics because the motivations. Incentive structure is totally fucked.
Think about this, all right? How are you going to get people who want to control other people away from the rings of power if you're consolidating the reins of power and strengthening the government and having the government have more control over people's lives? All you're going to have is the corrupt people who are now the corrupt people in the current system. They're going to be the corrupt people in the communist system. And there's going to be more for them and less for everybody else. And they have a mechanism by which to maintain their plutocracy. Now, I know you think that in a free market, if we were in a completely free market,
I think there's ways you could adjust the system so that it wouldn't be like that. And then I don't necessarily need any kind of
dude, you present no ways.
Like super Hunger Games central authority, like power structure.
You try to brush this off like it's super simple. Well, there's ways to avoid that. You present none of these ways. There's nothing historically that you could back it up to say that there's not going to be a powerful group of people and a plutocracy and oligarchy reigning out of that. What I'm saying is, historically speaking, when you have a free market, I know you have all these boogeymen of the free market, and you think that rich people are going to become so powerful in a free market. But what you don't understand is that
because they do.
Yes, the rich people become powerful in a free market, but you know who else is powerful in a free market?
The free markets don't really exist, but yeah.
If you had a purely free market...
Never could.
Well,
how could you?
Well, okay, well then I can sit around and say, yes, that's true. Maybe you never could. But I can sit around and say that your socialist thing could never happen. And I'm saying if it did happen, there would be corrupt people in it. If you want to get corruption out of our society, the way you do it is you let people be free. And people are free to go against the corruption. People are free to vote with their dollar. People are free to vote with their lives. Right now, people are not free to do that.
That doesn't work.
Yes, it does work.
Cigarettes.
Which happened under... What? That cigarettes is a manifestation of the free markets.
So there's just never going to be any
Cigarettes are not a manifestation of the free markets. So simply saying cigarettes is not an argument.
Do you just think that the capitalist motivation, which is solely to drive profits, you think that's just going to go away somehow?
No, dude.
It doesn't give a fuck about other people's lives.
Listen, you say solely driving profits. I say creating value in a society. Now, we've just framed the two things, the exact same thing. We're just framing it two different ways. You want to throw some negative connotation and some.
Well, no. Look at the actual contracts of corporate structure. Like a corporation, they're literally responsible to maximize profits to their shareholders. There's not any literal they're not responsible to maximize fucking anything in the society or anything for the greater good or any of that bullshit.
Okay, so let's deal with that. Just like with how the government sanctioned slavery and supported it, and slavery was a government program, so is corporatism. Corporatism is a government program. The government offers support, and this is the government's interference in the market that these people are legally obligated to have profit at all costs, and they're legally shielded from the consequences of this profit at all costs. If you have a problem with the corporatist structure, you have a problem with government interference in the market.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with that.
Hitting that pipe. Hitting that pipe, yo. So look, man, we got pretty hard on capitalism. We touched on the Black Lives Matter. I feel like we could dig in on Trump maybe a little bit more.
Sure. Yeah, let's do it.
All right, because you definitely got a losing argument there. Because I'm pretty sure now. Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure 9 months ago you're like, he'll never get the nomination. Boom, here he is with the nomination.
I probably did say that. Yeah.
How's that make you feel?
Makes me feel like, wow, Republicans are. Wow, that's what's going on over there now. All right, I misassessed where you guys were at.
Do you realize that there's a pretty long-standing tradition being opposed to communism, socialism, big government? That's a pretty long-standing American tradition. Certainly, we can agree on that.
Oh, I do. Trust me,
it's fierce.
A lot of people fucking just straight up hate me as soon as they find out I'm any kind of socialist or communist.
Yeah, you should think about there's a reason for that. You know what I mean? Like if you go to Rwanda, they still got some tensions left over from all the Holocausts.
There's been tons of brutal capitalist dictatorships and still are on this planet.
Oh Jesus!
What?
I'm not sure that's true, but
you're not. You ever heard of Saudi Arabia?
Oh fuck! They are pretty capitalist, aren't they?
They're augmented capitalism with heavy social welfare programs.
Well, yeah, and there's also the theocracy element, the nobility, I guess the monarchy element. I mean, come on. We're not painting Saudi Arabia as some sort of capitalist paradise. You want to go to Hong Kong? You want to go over to Hong Kong?
No, I wouldn't call it a dictatorship.
No, but what is it?
Mostly in South America.
Wait, hold on, but Hong Kong is...
Capitalist dictatorships.
Hong Kong.
Also, I'd say Russia, China.
Hong Kong. I'm just going to keep saying it. Hong Kong is a capitalist paradise, though. Can we agree on that?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Probably
Maybe.
Is.
I doubt it. I think they just had some massive protests in their streets a couple years ago.
Listen.
Didn't seem very paradisey over there.
Listen. Obviously, the paradise is going to be very informal usage, right?
It's paradise for some of them.
Dude, and
the Silicon Valley types that you love so much. Do you watch that show, by the way?
No,
I always think of you when I watch it.
Why?
You just seem like that kind of douche.
Okay.
Like, what's his name? The curly hair guy. I can't remember his name.
I probably am. I probably would get along with the Silicon Valley douchebags.
Yeah. They're lovable too, though. I love them.
So you watch a lot of TV. That makes sense.
Yeah. I watch Silicon Valley, Game of Thrones, every episode.
All right. So I guess my real question is, to pivot really hard, to crowbar my my agenda in here. Why do you hate families? Why do you love welfare, and why do you hate families? Because, I mean, certainly we can agree that healthy people come from healthy families, correct?
Fine with welfare, fine with families being married, I'm fine with them being not married.
Holy Jesus, way to muddy the waters. Okay, listen.
I like it. I like it when, people raise their kids,
Okay, you're pro-family, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's not anti-anything else, but being pro-family, that's good for people.
But at the same time, I'm not, single mothers can do it. It's
Yeah, listen, there's going to be a time and a place, but if you're pro-family, then how can you support basically the government subsidization? I always stumble on that word like a fucking autistic. Government subsidization of the destruction of the family. The government is saying, here, we'll give you money if you destroy your family. How's that good? How do you square those circles? You're pro-family.
Question there.
I'm definitely begging the question. I'm saying, how can you be for something that is so obviously against something that you also say you're for? If you're pro-family, then I don't know how you can be pro-welfare, as welfare is so demonstrably against the family. It's bad for the family. It just simply is.
So what's better for no welfare?
Well, okay, you wouldn't want to have no welfare in a controlled economy, right? Because then you're basically saying that the economy's going to suck because we control the shit out of it, and we got a bunch of parasites sucking off of it and manipulating it, and we have all the powerful people being stuck up at the top with nobody's able to challenge them. Then you need social welfare, right? Because you're not giving people any opportunity. If you have a truly free economy, or at least something more free, then what you can do is dislodge those powerful people by creating opportunities for more powerful people. And when you have a thriving society where the only people who don't have jobs are the people who don't want to work, then you don't need a social safety net, and the social safety net will be provided by those people's family members. So if you got some Tom or Dick or some Jane in your family that doesn't want to work, maybe they can at least leech off you a little bit, and that's
all right. So
that's
if
fine.
If you're able-bodied, right, you can pretty well get a job if you don't have a criminal record. If you do, it can be a lot harder. And a lot of times those jobs are Wendy's, Burger King, McDonald's.
If you're dog shit at finding a job, there's not like our economy is based on fast food. That is a peripheral aspect of our economy.
That's the minimum wage. I'm talking about where the floor is, because a lot of people make the floor. A lot of people don't have the skills.
No, but you're characterizing entry level. You're characterizing entry level jobs as this small cross section of our economy when there's entry level jobs in every industry. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, maybe if you live in Southern California, the only jobs you can find are Wendy's, but also it might just be because you're lazy as fuck. Now, what I'm saying is the left...
No, see, here's the thing. I've worked at fast food.
I'm sure you have. I'm sure you have.
In the Midwest.
Not surprised.
And I wasn't lazy as fuck. I worked 40 hours a week.
Oh, Jesus. How anecdotal are we getting? I'm not saying you're lazy as fuck. Let's just keep your feels out of this.
No, I'm just making the point that people that do the minimum wage jobs aren't lazy. And then once you're done working minimum wage for 40 hours and you've made $15,000 or whatever it is, or 14
oh Jesus, dude,
annually, and then what? Then it's time to work another 40, isn't it, Boltsy?
Dude, you're contorting
to get to somewhere around people who have more skills are. So I guess it was because I was raised by Christians. I keep thinking of the least of these. So when you talk about like the system as a whole, I think of how the system not just is serving white guys with college educations. I'm thinking how it serves people that suck at, thinking, right? Not too good at the thinking. They matter too. They're part of the system too. And if democracy was accurately reflected in our system via campaign finance reform, getting money out of politics, their voices could be better heard and say, hey, we don't really like this system. We want to start redistributing some of the money, if not abolishing capitalism altogether.
Jesus Christ, of course they would. How fucking vague. But you pivoted off of one misunderstanding of what I said. What I was saying, they're too lazy to find a good job, a good entry-level job. Doesn't mean that they're lazy once they find... Dude, not maybe. Dude, if there's 40 jobs available...
Every now and then. I like going to a Burger King. So there needs to be people to do those jobs.
Oh, that's right. That's totally what I'm saying, is that these jobs should be just vacant and filled by robots. Yeah, obviously people need to do those jobs. What I'm saying, though, is...
And I don't think they're shit people, you know? I think
Oh,
they're just
Jesus.
not that great at capitalism.
Yeah.
And that's fine with me.
Listen, that capitalism is the only game in town. You either have an oppressive government
Sure.
destroying
It is.
free markets, or you
Sure.
have a free society. Listen,
I don't think it's oppressive to improve the lives of people at the bottom. I think it feels oppressive to people who have lots of money.
no, nobody said that. You're creating such an
I don't
elaborate
think you have
straw
enough
man.
money that my ideal system would even start redistributing from you.
Okay, I'm not
You know, I
threatened
think
by
you
it.
would be the beneficiary. I mean, maybe you're like self-employed, so you don't even really apply here to the co-op situation. But I don't know.
Dude, I'm not threatened by your
Eight other
fantasy.
people-
I'm
Yeah.
not threatened by your fantasy. That's fine. We can totally do that. But what I'm saying is, here's what happens: the left hurts the economy, creates a bunch of disaffected people who have no jobs and have no really prospects, and then they
tell yourself based on bullshit.
dude. So the left destroys the economy, and then when it creates a bunch of poor
Okay,
people,
so-
it panders to those
It's
people.
something that's totally wrong, and then what?
Say it again.
So the left destroys the economy, and then... Sorry, go ahead.
The left destroys the economy, then it panders to the people disenfranchised by the destroyed economy with the false promise that they're going to fix the economy when they're the ones that fucked it up in the first place, and it's a vicious circle, race to the bottom. And so what you have is you have the traditional way of having a free society and a free, healthy society, and then you have the traditional way of killing a free and healthy society, and that's what the left is. The left is how you kill a society. All right, and I understand that like the market hasn't treated you good, and your Christian parents haven't treated you good, and you got this chip on your shoulder about the right, right?
You're just doing that. You're making the argument that at the beginning of the call you said you wouldn't make because it's a stupid argument. You're saying you're not good at capitalism, therefore no wonder you hate it. Which is again, it's stupid on its face because it's like, what's the right amount of money to make to be able to criticize capitalism? There's no right answer. Because as soon as you hit that amount, you're up. Now you make too much money. Why don't you pay all your money into the common money pool, and that'll fix everything, huh? Why don't you do that? So we've already addressed that, and not to mention that. Not only that, but it's like saying you are making X amount of money and are smart enough to recognize that it would be in your economic best interest to have some resources redistributed your way more than they are currently. Gotcha. Like you're smart enough to recognize what's in your best interest and want that. Gotcha.
Are you saying so?
Do you see how stupid that sounds?
Well, when you make up something, of course it's going to be stupid. So what you're trying to say is that I'm advocating from the right
because you got this chip on your shoulder because you're so shitty at capitalism. You can't nail it like I got it. I got news for you, Boltsy. Most people my age don't make as much money as I do. And they got chips on their shoulder, too.
Right. So, but I actually drew...
And so that... you could. So when you got 10 people on an island, and one guy has, through the genius of capitalism, acquired all the coconuts, and the rest people are sharing like 2 or 3 between the 9 of them, and then the guy with all the coconuts is going to say to the other guys... So you guys are just butthurt because, you're not good at capitalism like me. And
Right.
guess what? You could say all the shit you want, but once there's enough people on that side, your shit doesn't matter anymore.
Listen, I'll certainly agree with you that the bullshit thing you made
Your
up
little
about...
themes, your little
right.
slogans, they don't mean shit.
Listen, I can certainly agree with you that the little bullshit island thing with 10 people and one person... through the magic of capitalism, gets all the 10 coconuts.
But that's what happens, dude. You've got
No.
80 people with more money than the bottom
it's
half
not.
of the global population because capitalism is so awesome at figuring out where money should go. Or maybe because it's an engine of redistribution of wealth upward.
How oversimplified could you possibly make it when you take 300 million people and then you say, oh, if it was like 10 people on an island, you can see how plain it is. That's not a great comparison by any stretch of the imagination.
All right, I didn't know metaphors are banned here.
No, I'm saying your shitty metaphor is definitely going to be criticized. So let's break that down. Why are these two things not equivalent? Why is it so basic? Just basically all your metaphor tells me is that you think that the current system with 300 million people is unfair, and you characterize it by saying that one person, through the magic of capitalism, stole all of the...
I'm saying capitalism is an engine that drives...
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
What is happening over here?
Well, that was my question exactly.
All right. Fantastic. So we pulled you in. I think you called me, so then I hung up on him to talk to you.
Oh, sorry.
No. Unnecessary apologies, unnecessary. But we just wanted a third party in on this because we've been arguing for like a long time. So what we're going to do, if you want to participate, I don't know how the genesis, I think someone suggested you participate, and then you typed a paragraph that seemed like you were interested.
Oh.
So now you're fucked.
Here we are.
And now here we are. Now you're fucked. Now we're bugging you. I'm going to... Now he's calling me, and I have no way to... Wait. Boom. Randy.
Oh.
Wow.
Well, see... When did I lose you?
We were in the middle of going, and then Nines called me. So I picked up on her, and then you called me back, and I added you in. So just so everyone's up to speed, we got Nines here.
Okay. I was just about to go. God damn it. All right.
Let's
Let's go.
Yeah, fucked
I
again.
thought you were having a nap and you were arguing all that time?
Yes.
All right. So what, you were arguing what?
We were talking shit on...
He was talking anarchy, and you
No,
were
we didn't
talking
really get to
communism, right?
Yeah, we were just mostly talking about capitalism.
Close enough.
See, you guys, people are in charge of that, and as long as there are psychopaths, greedy assholes, none of the above. You know?
Okay, so what's the answer then? Would you fall somewhere in the middle, or you say meteorite destroys the planet, that works out best for everybody?
Well, I have friends who say that. They definitely, bring on the asteroid is a common saying nowadays, but what about a blend of communism and capitalism?
It's what we got right now, and it sucks.
No, a better blend, though, where everybody has a roof over their head, everybody eats, everybody is comfortable enough not to feel like they have to go off and grab somebody else's shit.
Gary
We're
Johnson.
talking about a universal basic income.
Gary
Yes.
Johnson.
Interesting idea.
Yeah.
No. That's not something in the middle. A universal basic income is that something in the middle? Would that be classified as a libertarian point of view? Can we agree that libertarian would be the middle ground, the healthy middle between the left and the right?
No. I think
Okay,
it's on the
of course
right.
not. I wasn't even talking to you, Randy, now that you mention it.
Yeah.
Well, we can't agree, but you guys can agree.
All right. It's true that libertarian is still too far right. But,
Okay.
But liberals also, a lot of
But having
liberals
a
also like the
universal-
idea of universal basic income, and some like democratic socialists. Full socialists would say it's like a half measure.
yeah.
Like I would
people
say
can
that's a
still
half
be-
measure. You're still leaving the base.
People could still be making all kinds of money, and thinking they're better than everybody else and all the rest of that stuff. And the rest of us, who don't want to go that way or can't bring ourselves to or whatever, could just exist and happily.
Yeah, I mean, people would only like go work at McDonald's just for like extra weed money
Right.
or whatever. I don't know.
Or McDonald's would have to start paying people, for real.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
Do you guys think that there's any evidence that that's financially viable for our country?
Well, no, we've never tried it before, but, that's another thing about me is,
There's been one country has just started doing it in the last couple of years, like somewhere in Scandinavia, maybe Switzerland or something.
oh, that's right, there is a trial run going somewhere, or part of a country or something.
No, but the economics of it actually, it could be done.
Okay, can I tell you something? As somebody who employs people, I would probably just not be in business. I'd probably just go work for somebody else then.
Yeah.
So it's kind of anti-business sort of a platform to take. It's not. Do you see how that could maybe hamper
Guess
innovation?
what? Here's the thing. you're from the perspective of a business owner. Sure, that's like your opinion, man. I'm just saying there's more non-business owners in the country that don't give a fuck about the perspective of a business owner when they faced with the option of, can this work? Universal basic income. If you want to do what you're doing, you'll do it. If there's a market for it, there will be still. In fact, there will probably be more because you'll have more disposable income to go around, and more of it will be spread your way too.
So how's this? This isn't tremendously different than a minimum wage and unemployment program, basically, except for if you're like don't qualify for unemployment, you still qualify for your basic what, $15,000 a year? Would you get people?
And it takes a lot of the coercion out of it, Holsey.
But how is this a lot different from what we have now? Is what I don't understand, because we have unemployment, welfare, and minimum wage. So
and
how's this?
A lot of people who can't get any of the above because they can't conform or they did something wrong, or what somebody else calls wrong,
right?
Like smoke pot or sold it or something.
So what you're saying, though, is that it's working so well now that we can expand it to all the people that don't qualify for the social safety net, various programs that we have now.
Well, it's working so well relative to other societies. Not wonderfully for us, but,
So I assume you're talking about, like, Western European countries?
No, I'm talking about the whole globe. All humans.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, seriously, we were all brought up to think that this is sort of like basic life, but it isn't on most of the planet. And I'm not saying we need to do with less. I'm saying that this whole, less and more business is relative at best, but why can't everybody have a lot or all they want?
Listen, I'm hearing unabashed idealism, and I can certainly respect that, but I think
I'm utopian to the max, but I'm also a totally foaming right-wing maniac at the same time.
I'm not hearing any of that. Right-wing.
Well, not yet, but wait
right.
till Randy starts talking about getting rid of guns and things.
Okay, let's talk about that.
And forcing people to, not be snarky or whatever it is.
Is there any way to talk about guns without getting bogged down into stupidity with you, Randy? Because you've been pretty resistant to having a flowing conversation this far. I feel like if we get into probably not. All right. Here's the thing, man. You can't come and take my guns. Why would you even think that that's? Once again, I feel like you want to go against the grain of a very deep American tradition with just regard for how that lands with people.
It's fine.
Oh,
I can't.
The bottom line is always, as long as psychopaths are born, people need to be able to protect themselves from them. Period.
And let's not forget that there's psychopaths in government.
Yes, mostly. Almost exclusively.
No, you have millions of unnecessary gun deaths in this country, and
well, right. That the social contract.
Other countries don't have those because they don't have guns in their countries, and they did it because of a prohibition of guns, and it worked, and it's fine. It could happen here. I'm not saying I think it will realistically happen here. Like that's so against what our cultural propaganda system has put into the zeitgeist of this nation at this time that it's not realistic. But you're saying like you shouldn't have the opinion that if enough people were to vote there was enough political pressure to vote for a gun ban. In that scenario, of course I'm going to vote for it because I believe that would be the best situation.
You crybaby. You fucking crybaby. No one's saying you can't have your opinion. I'm saying that opinion is terrible. Of course you can have your terrible opinion, and I'm always going to bring up that it flies in the face of the majority of people and the long tradition in our country.
Yes, it's a massively unpopular opinion. So is being a communist. Sorry.
The thing,
once again,
that settled it for me, you guys, was bringing it right down to basics. You're naked in the woods, and
I don't
look at it that way. And there's somebody stronger coming who wants to.
I get it. In like Hollywood movies, it seems, there's lots of situations guns would be handy, right? Because that's the way our culture and our country is at this time. But Japan, England, and Australia aren't like that, and they're doing something a little different, and it seems to be working. And they, I look at the number of gun deaths on our charts and the number of gun deaths on their charts. Seems pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, somebody a while back checked out knife deaths on their charts, and it sort of evens out.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't even come close.
Well,
that chart,
you saw it, so I was.
I haven't seen that chart, but it's ridiculous.
So let me throw this at you. Even though I know I threw the gun question at you to begin with, knowing that full well, what I'm saying is you know that it's an unpopular opinion. You know that it's a losing opinion. You say it probably won't happen, yet this seems to be something that the left is so in love with. Why do you think that is?
The left in this country is in love with a lot of them are in love with banning automatic weapons, which already happened. But beyond that, a lot of them are in love with banning large-capacity magazines. They're in favor of expanding background checks so there's no way to avoid them. They're in favor of these sorts of measures that may mitigate that or make it harder for guns to get into the hands of the wrong people or just,
How did lefties get so totalitarian?
Limit the lethality of guns that exist. Most lefties in America are not against the gun ban.
They're not against the gun ban.
No. Most Democrats, most registered Democrats who you are so afraid want to come and take your guns, they don't. I do, but they don't.
I think you're getting really confused, but here's what I'll say is
they want to limit your clip size. They want to do these, whatever. They want to make it so you can't have an AR-type semi-automatic weapon with a 30-round clip, semi-auto.
Listen, Randy, all of the bad ideas kind of bounce around society, and when they get rejected by everybody, they end up in the left, and the left just becomes this last refuge for all the bad ideas in a society, and it caters to the lowest common denominator.
Creature, man. You're like a libertarian anarchist wannabe Sean Hannity.
Right, I was doing so good. I know. I understand. I was doing so good that you had to interrupt it and just point out some obvious things.
Oh, left is such poison, communist. You're like Joe McCarthy over here. Like, you're a communist. Have you now or ever been associated with blah 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 blah?
You have. I mean, do you understand?
Want to destroy society,
Randy. Hey, Randy. Don't you see how the left is getting that way? Like just what you were just saying. The left is getting so Joe McCarthy. That's exactly it. But most of the time,
Joe McCarthy was against communists.
I know, but forget that.
Rears.
Forget that.
He was the exact thing that people accuse SJWs of trying to silence people. He was the ultimate SJW.
Dude, the common denominator here is witch hunts. McCarthy was a witch hunt, and modern-day social justice warriors are witch hunts.
Exactly.
They're bigoted, they're hypocritical, and they're basically a culmination of bad ideas. And when they have nowhere else to go, they go to the left. And they dig in their heels, and they wait. And this is what communism is. This is a terrible idea that came and tried to infiltrate and failed and failed and failed. And to what degree it's been able to succeed has been to what degree our country has gotten worse as a result of it. There's no two ways. This is incontrovertible. It's just how much do you want to apologize for this? How much? I mean, this is a fact. But the question is, how much do you want to apologize for this?
For what?
For what I just described. That you probably is
bullshit. It's just your opinion. It doesn't mean anything.
Okay, well that's your answer for everything. But I think there's a compelling argument for it that I could roll out.
Boltsy.
I don't think you're capable of making a compelling argument against it.
ANCAPs are out to destroy the fabric of America and generally just wreak havoc and create Mad Max scenarios across the land, because that's really what they want deep down in their soul. Like, well, what do you say to that, Boltsy?
What do I
think? Because it's fucking stupid. It's like, so how often do you beat your wife? What?
Okay, so listen, you took it all really personally, so now you're trying to take it to some super rational place. I'm saying,
no, your questions are stupid.
I'm saying the left is the motherlode of bad ideas in American discourse, right?
The right and the libertarian anarchists are the same.
Okay, and that's what I predicted you would say. So moving forward, my counter to that is that's.
But I don't like going. You suck, and here's a long-winded rant about basically just me saying you suck in different ways.
No.
You two, you're so good at arguing with each other.
Not
There was
really.
a book many years ago called Gödel Escherbach by Douglas Hofstadter, where he got a Pulitzer Prize for it, and he talked about jumping out of the system, but you take your own side and the other person's side, whatever, and you jump out of it, up above it, like you're in a tree looking down at this mess, and you just sort of let go of your own feelings and the other person's arguments and look at what's happening. And it's just bottom line, divide and conquer.
No,
Because
here's the thing.
stuff
One of us
appeals-
thinks that the other people has evil intent, and one of us thinks the other one's just an ANCAP of some sort.
Nah, that's not true. You're mischaracterizing. Listen, I'm going to speak to what Nine said.
You just said communism is and every type of the left in this country wants to, or all of its policies drag it down and want to destroy it.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
just think he's wrong and don't argue with him about it.
No,
Okay.
that's not.
You're in the best bat. You want to your son so bad? Go on, Mom. Huh? Go ahead, Mom. Me. Me right here in the best bat. You want to your son so bad? Go on, Mom. Huh? Go ahead, Mom. Me right here in the best bat. You want to your son so bad? Go on, Mom. Me. Huh? Go ahead, Mom. Me right here in the best bat. You want to your son so bad? Go on, Mom. Me. Huh? Go ahead, Mom. Me right here in the best bat. You want to your son so bad? Go on, Mom. Me. Huh? Go ahead, Mom. Me right here in the best bat. You want to your son so bad? Go on, Mom. Me. And buy some condoms, because we should at least be safe if you're gonna me, Mom. Here. Me, Mom, just say so. Go, me, Mom, just say so. Go ahead, here. Huh? Go ahead, Mom. Me. Me right here in the best bat. You want me, Mom, just say so. Go ahead, here. Huh? Go ahead, Mom. Now go on, Mom. Now go on, Mom. Me. 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 Now go on, Mom. Me.
The emergency alert system has been activated. All broadcast and cable systems shall transmit this emergency action notification message. This station has interrupted its regular program at the request of the White House to participate in the emergency alert system. During this emergency, most stations will remain on the air. If you are not in this local area, you should tune to stations providing news and information for your local area. You are listening to the emergency alert system. Do not use your telephone. The telephone lines should be kept open for emergency use. The emergency alert system has been activated.
Hey. The majority of you humans are full of shit. You do not care about what is going on in our planet we call home, nor working towards a solution to help change the ways things are. All of you humans want is to make quick videos, memes, and speak of love of family bullshit. We get it, it is fun, they are hot. People love friends and recognition. Look at me. Wake the fuck up already. We personally know humans who care. Those that stand up, and those who do not. If you go through their social media sites and look at their likes and comments, they are through the roof on pictures of good looking women with "we are all family" and shit, quick clips of the people getting beat up or murdered by police, a fucking flag, and the bullshit goes on and on non-stop. Articles and facts regarding corruption and how our freedoms are being stripped only get one like, or maybe two. But with zero comments. Look up one of your personal friends for yourself. Then ask yourself, are they really helping us fight against a tyrannous government being powered by the bankers? Are you falling victim to their distraction? Are you a bandwagon protester? This effort, this idea, is not supposed to be the cool kids club. This idea is fucking beautiful. It is what we all needed. Love and respect. Anarchy and accountability. A society of sheep is not a society of leaders. Have you forgotten why the fuck we wear the mask? Have you forgotten what we stand for and stand against? Sheep, pawns, order followers. From Anons to patriots. Why is Jeremy Hammond still locked up? Why are those who put him behind bars not being exposed on a daily basis? We are in this together. Only together can we, as one, bring down the minority elites ruling power. Violence is not necessary if we band together as one human race and stop worrying about your personal feelings. If you were a proud human, if you were staying focused, their agenda would not be furthered. We see it every day. We are paying attention. We are working on projects. But we cannot do this alone. We need you, and you need us. The wedge is being driven deeper with every swing of the axe. Please, from the depths of our soul, to every bone in our body. Wake up, and stop being a fucking victim. The anonymous banner is beautiful. The idea behind the mask is beautiful. You all are beautiful. Remember that. Live it. Prove it. Love it as you love yourself. You want a solution? Then here it is. We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us.
Pandora.
This is how you eat a Big Mac, nigga. Cuz, what the fuck? D, come on, son. Son. Come on, son. Damn, son. Come on, cuz. You need to shut the fuck up.
Hey, Dale. Hey, Dale. Yep.
Derp derpity derp 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 derp.
What the fuck, gang? What the fuck, gang? Ami, c'est quoi? C'est qui? C'est quoi? Yeah. T'es qu'un Pink Pony Monster. Pink Pony Monster. Tu es killer Pink Pony. What the fuck gang. Le coup est de légende, donc à couvert sur les jambes. On a juste fait le taf, si on remarque on les gêne. Tu les as chromés en or, on les préfère les gens. Suis-nous sous un quart d'enfant et arrête de devenir genre. What the fuck, what the fuck, what the fuck. Gang music, what the fuck, what the fuck, what the fuck. Gang music, what the fuck, alright. What the fuck, what the fuck, nigga, what the fuck, yeah. Perdu dans le vide et mes négros me guettent au loin. Je m'en bats les couilles négro, tu sais que je suis un ghetto youth. Tu veux ma peau, tu veux tout ce que j'ai. Je m'en bats les couilles négro, fais la merde bancaire. J'ai que le flow et les passes et les aimes s'ils veulent m'attraper. J'ai pas le temps pour ces gadgets si tu me veux négro. On est au Bédec, M.I.C.K. Vite de TK, tu veux ma queue, M.I.C.K. Le coup est de légende, donc à couvert sur les jambes. On a juste fait le taf, si on remarque on les gêne. Tu les as chromés en or, on les préfère les gens. Suis-nous sous un quart d'enfant et arrête de devenir genre. What the fuck, what the fuck, what the fuck. Gang music, what the fuck, what the fuck, what the fuck. Gang music, what the fuck, alright. What the fuck, what the fuck, nigga, what the fuck.
On est là, on est prêt, on est frais, gros, nous on veut de la moula. What the fuck gang, et quand tu es là, ouais, j'suis là. Clic, clac, hell, aïe. Vas-y, dis-moi, dis-moi. Vas-y, dis-moi. Mes négros parlent mais ne font que rêver. Mes négros parlent et font tomber des billets. Ennemis oui, mes ennemis saignent. J'entends tes cris, tu fais de la peine. Évitez les galets, frère je suis calé. Assis sur le trône, j'foule ta voix dans le palais. Gunplay, j'ai dégainé. Fun, même quand je vais traîner.
Le coup est de légende, donc à couvert sur les jambes. On a juste fait le taf, si on remarque on les gêne. Tu les as chromés en or, on les préfère les gens. Suis-nous sous un quart d'enfant et arrête de devenir genre. What the fuck, what the fuck, what the fuck. Gang music, what the fuck, what the fuck, what the fuck. Gang music, what the fuck, alright. What the fuck, what the fuck, nigga, what the fuck, yeah.
Mon cours vient de l'espace. Mes textes d'Anatas. Ta meuf cherche ta queue, oh, ta mienne me la ramasse. Mon taf c'est le baiser, call me de face. T'as le flow d'un hippie, bref, le flow d'une pétasse.
M.I.C.K. toujours dans les bails motherfucker. Quand je te vois, négro moi je te fuck. Rien à foutre, négro t'es pas de taille. Moi je baisse ta meuf quand tu guettes des hentai. Quand je me trompe tout le temps.
Avoided wherever possible. Bumfuck. Forget the obvious definition, which is, yes, you got it. A bumfuck can also be a bum fuck. That is, someone with whom it is not much fun to share a sleeping bag. On the basis that someone's sexual etiquette is probably a reflection of their wider character, the word can also be applied to a person who is unpleasant with clothes on or off. Clusterfuck. A remarkably descriptive American term for a scene in which there are lots of people doing lots of unusual things with lots of other people, and none of them are wearing any undergarments. Fine as a fantasy, but actually rather annoying in real life, believe me. And so, by extension, it also applies to a situation that is extremely chaotic.
In life, oh girl, you know it's true. And every time you see me, you're like, learn how to drive that car. When you see what you know it's learn how to drive that car. Forget it while it's hot, you know go before it's time.
Father can teach you to drive that car. My father, Braca, Braca. And that's the MedJool date sales.
I like to find it, but you know I like.
You guys sell MedJool dates? You guys know Brucey? You guys know Brucey? It's Brucey! Yeah! Any carpet. Any carpet you want. Called Kaoud. Your fucking mother is like kebab.